Welcome everyone to the Fireside Chat Post-Innovation Challenge in the area of transplant, and the co-host for this Innovation Challenge, Veloxis, as well as Lyfebulb. I'm the CEO of Lyfebulb, and I am Karin Hehenberger, and I'm losing my video here, but I will get it back. It's what happens with Zoom and virtual seminars sometimes. I'm staying on track. And I'm really honored to have our two winners. So we had a unique innovation challenge this time in the sense that we have two tracks, a for-profit track and a not-for-profit track. And our finalists came from a very large pool of applicants, and it was incredibly hard, first of all, to narrow down to 10. Worldwide challenge. So we got competitors all over the world seeking to be part of this summit. And then we had a great group of judges representing different capabilities. And today we have with us one of our judges, Greg Lewis, who is going to help me here to ask some questions of our two winners. So back to the winners, who are the most important, but I would also want to mention the other finalists, because it was a great group of individuals, and unfortunately we can't bring everyone on. But so our winner in the for-profit group was Dr. Isabel Portero, representing Biohope, and we will hear more about Biohope. And in our not-for-profit sector, we have Chet Bennett, representing the C. Allen Foundation. Two incredible individuals who I'm now going to ask to speak a little bit, just briefly, about why you got into this space and what the key, I would say, takeaway of your technology or your company, and try to keep it to a pretty short presentation here. If we start with Isabel, Dr. Portero.
Thank you very much, Karin. It's really a pleasure for me to be here, and quite an honor also. And I'm still amazed to be a winner of this innovation challenge. It's quite amazing. So what was the reason for me to create Biohope and to start developing this technology? Is that I'm quite concerned about some of the problems that are still on the table and have not been solved for patients, because I'm really a medical doctor as a person with a strong vocation. And I had experience personally of facing with many of the problems associated with immunosuppression, both in the part of the adverse events and also when it is not working properly and it delivers reaction and other problems. And one of the major causes that I could envision is that all this medication is prescribed empirically, which is quite surprising, because in many other therapeutic areas, in other parts of medicine, we do have now some advanced instruments in order to tailor medication. So this is it. I just thought, and why don't we have this kind of instrument here? So it's quite.
So you identified a need, and then you went about seeking a solution. And we're going to hear more about that solution next. So Chet, what about you? You have a very personal commitment to this space.
Absolutely. First, I would just like to start off saying that Lyfebulb is a class act. And I'm not saying that because I'm the winner, ladies and gentlemen, because I participated in another challenge where I didn't win, and Lyfebulb was still a class act. So I just wanted to start off by telling Dr. Karin how important her work is and how it has benefited so many people, especially the C. Allen Foundation. And Karin is right. The C. Allen Foundation, I have a personal story because I am a kidney transplant recipient. It's been 3 years. I've been transplanted, and how the C. Allen Foundation came about out was me getting sick and not getting any information in reference to what I need to do before dialysis, not knowing anything about transplantation, not really knowing how to eat, and things of that nature. So we started the Sea Island Foundation that's focusing on education and nutrition. And the important thing from my relationship with Lyfebulb, we kind of added to our mission, and that is making more dialysis patients become healthy enough to receive transplants. And that's one of the major things that we're doing now, getting them transplant ready so they can be able to have more of a better quality of life. So I'm excited to be here today. Thank you.
That's really great. So thank you so much. You had your own personal experience and you went for it, which you know, a lot of people have dreams, not most of them don't make them true. So it's great to see the two of you. Greg, as a judge and really representing the commercial sector, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit, but what stood out with these two individuals and their companies?
So Greg Lewis, I lead a company called Calcium. We do healthcare advertising. And I was really excited to be brought into the mix with Lyfebulb and Veloxis for this challenge. I don't even want to call myself a judge, more like an evaluator, because I wanted everyone to win. But I think for both Chet and Isabel, their ideas felt very actionable. Chet is doing a lot in his community already that is having impact on those patients. And we kind of see the future right down the line for Isabel's program and just the benefit that she's going to bring to so many people. So it was tough. It was tough making the decision who was going to win. We wanted everyone to be a winner, and in a way, everyone was a winner. But if these two individuals, their ideas, their commitment, their ambition really rose to the top in the impact that they're having either now or in the very near future.
Thank you. And I totally agree that it was really hard, but the near term and the very clear plan, you know, I think stood out. So Isabel, I myself, as full disclosure, I'm a transplant patient as well. So I have a kidney and a pancreas. I'm on these immune suppressants, and like Chet, so we know what it's like to take the drugs every day and face side effects versus rejection. You know, what as a person living with transplant, how does that affect that individual, your technology, when it is in the market? Assuming regulatory wise, clinical trial wise, it's there. Now you're using it. What is it going to do for Chet and me and all the other patients who are listening to this seminar?
Okay. I would like to start saying that would be the real price for me. So the most important and the real price is that this technology ends up being useful for you. And that's it. Okay, the rest is marvelous, but the really key thing is to be useful. So the technology should help tailor the medication in this way. I mean, if a person should be more sensitive to some medication and more resistant to other, or let's say, some of the drugs would be more effective on one person compared to another. So what could be possible would be to choose those medications more sensitive for a specific patient, for you, for Chet. And this way, it would be conceivable to downscale, to download the dosages, first of all, without compromising the final goal of protecting the graft. So I would say that would be the major takeaway message, is to use the most potent drugs for each individual in order to downscale the dosages and to be, I mean, go more directly to the point and not get lost in molecules and drugs that are not really being so useful, but are providing adverse events to the patient.
That's a really good explanation, and you know, it's interesting that has not been done, right, for the transplant medications, while for other medications we do tailor the strength of the medication to and also the kind of, for example, antibiotic that is that the patient is susceptible to, and that's why it's so important to get a diagnosis of what kind of bacteria, you know, a patient actually has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And Chet, for a patient in your community, what do you do? What is the impact on the individuals in your community if they're part of the C. Allen Foundation? What do you do right now?
Absolutely. Thank you, Karin. The C. Allen Foundation is a lifestyle brand. So what we wanted to do was to help dialysis warriors with a better quality of life. So we've done everything that we can think of from my experiences as being a patient. Mm-hmm. So we have the port shirts and the fistula shirts that we have to make it more comfortable to wear while you're getting treatment. We have we have the body butters, we have the skin care, because a lot of times as dialysis patients, you itch really, really, really badly. So what we created in our lab was a product that can have a better effect on the patient's skin in reference to itching and the terrible dryness that most of them have. Most importantly, the Chet Bennett seasonings is doing amazing. We're now in 28 stores, and what we decided to do is to go into the neighborhoods. And what we also realized, and this is something now, I have been talking so much about the Black and Brown community because of the statistics. However, all communities are really affected by the disease. And I'm noticing how all communities are purchasing the low sodium seasonings so they can be able to help them to help them to deal with things like the phosphorus, the protein, the potassium, sodium, all of those things. And with our meals that we create for them and with the recipes that we create using the seasonings has really been a great hit, especially now that we're going into the season of giving and holidays. And everyone now is cooking. We're not going out as much because of the weather's changing. And so now we're looking at how we can take this even further. So we just agreed to open up a spot in New Jersey. One of the dialysis patients in New Jersey is asking that she become a wholesaler and a distributor for that. The same thing in California. So just from winning Lyfebulb, and everyone now is getting in touch with me, and they're saying, how can we do this? So I have some great news that I'll share when you come back to me in reference to how we're going to impact the kidney community nationally.
Wonderful. So Greg, you with your background in advertising and really understanding how to make a splash out of news and facts, and I'm not saying spin it, but make it more impactful. What do you see could be done? I mean, you have a lifestyle brand here, and you have a medical product or a diagnostic product, a medical device, essentially. How do you see that your capabilities could be helpful?
It's a really interesting question, because when we were in the deliberation room, I'll give you guys a peek behind the curtain. But one of the filters or one of the thresholds that I was using to evaluate all the great ideas was, what would the headline be in the New York Times? Or what would the headline be in a local paper that would announce one of these ideas? So, Isabel's ability to tailor dosage of medicine to different patients, different patient types, felt like a headline on the head of the New York Times science section. And then Chet's efforts in kind of easing the lifestyle of these patients, letting them take care of their skin, letting them wear clothing that was accessible for the procedures, giving them the taste and the seasoning that they love, also became a headline. So I think that these are both, different ideas that come at the transplant patient in a really supportive way. I don't think either of them have to be marketed too hard. Like with Chet, we were pushing him a little bit in some of the Q&A and some of the after discussion around, how are you going to globalize this more, or even how are you going to bring it across the nation more? And it sounds like that's happening already. So kudos to you, Chet, for making that happen. And then for Isabel, the idea is a big one. Great ideas don't need heavy marketing. So I think they're both off to the races.
That's great. So I want to just give a little bit of some time also to some of the other, and more from a collaborative perspective. Isabel and Chet, and also Greg, from your perspective, what are some of the other companies, Isabel, that you would consider, first of all, perhaps working with, collaborating with, from a Biohope perspective? And secondly, was there anything else, beyond the two of you, that you thought, wow, this really could transform transplantation, since you have the background as a medical doctor?
Okay, about companies to collaborate, I would collaborate to any company developing a new drug. Because I think that even unexpected drugs, doesn't matter. It can be something that is being developed for lupus or whatsoever, because we have a simple test that make feasible easy comparisons between the drugs that are now in the market and the new ones. So that is clearly something that I would like to do an offer. For example, the other sponsor, Veloxis, could be a good partner in this sense. So I would love to do it. Nevertheless, who knows?
To that, Veloxis, there you have a partner.
Yeah, why not? And not only Veloxis, there are some others that could be interested in such things. For example, one very precise comparison that could be very interesting would be with biological treatments. So that comparison needs some R&D on our side, but it's possible, it's feasible to do it. And this is something that could be revolutionary also. In order to get the better candidates and so on and so forth, skipping, well, it's not possible to skip all the animal studies, but we work with human blood. We go directly with human cells, so it is really rational and intelligent to test the new drugs in a model like ours, that. Yep. So this is something I would do. About things that could make a revolution in transplantation, obviously any of the ideas trying to induce tolerogenic status would be revolutionary.
Yeah.
That's on one side. Then you have all the artificial organs and so on, but which is also fantastic. But both developments, I think that need a little bit more time in order to be on the table. Yep. But that would be
Isabel, yeah.
Yes.
I was just going to say, what about some of your peers that were in the room that brought their ideas to the?
Okay. About
that was my original
peers.
question, but I let you go there because it was interesting to hear anyway. But
okay, sorry.
Thank you, Greg.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question. About my peers, yes, there was. Well, I remember these guys in New York that are testing drugs in the liver model.
Organ Bio. Yep.
Yeah. I think that this is really interesting. Actually, I gave the person, I gave him my card and I told him, please call me because I think that we could collaborate on this.
So Rory Cunningham, call Isabel.
Yeah, yeah, hope so. Hope so. So, yes. And there is also this lady that is developing a kind of biopsy using an echo.
Oh, yeah. Genevieve Springer.
Genevieve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This lady, well, she's at the beginning of all the roadmap.
Right.
But it's quite an interesting thing to be done.
Yeah.
So
it could be revolutionary. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, for example, these two ideas I like really much. And also about the nonprofit, if I can say, Chet work is marvelous because to improve the lifestyle of the patients, I think it's really a brilliant goal. And there was a lady from Australia,
right?
And this
Patricia.
Patricia, she was trying to solve the problem of labor.
Yeah.
And that's also a big problem. So I thought those are really interesting and ideas that deserve to be supported.
Very good. Thank you. So Chet, what about you? Who do you want to work with?
Right. So
don't say everyone.
No. So listen to this. I came up with, and I'm so excited about it, and that is the National Kidney Cafe Inspirational Cooking and Lifestyle Tour. And what we did was we came up with, we went on the CDC website, we found the 10 cities that has the highest rate of kidney disease and people that are who are on dialysis. We came up, we got the 10 cities, and now what we're doing is we are now pitching that to, I have one this evening with one of the members of Veloxis team. We have CVS, everyone that we met through Lyfebulb that I made connections with. We're talking to them in reference to that. Now, some of the people that we want to work with, I thought Joe was amazing. Joe is a transplant.
Ready to go. Yep.
We want Joe to be one of the speakers. We want Karin to be one of the speakers. We're going to fly her into the different cities. We want.
I will sign up, Chad. I'll do anything. I will
absolutely
come on your tour.
And then definitely my girl Sharon, who worked with the veterans, we've already been in contact. We want her there. I already reached out to Greg Lewis, who's on the call now. Greg came back with a great response. I wanted to throw out the pitch to him to see, you know what I'm saying, how things are going to go. So he responded back. So I'm going to get back in touch with Greg to do that. But the important thing is to spread the word nationally. Go where they are. You know, DC, we have really already covered this market. Now it's time to go to the places like Louisiana that's really high, like Mississippi that's really high, like Arkansas, like West Virginia, those places, North Carolina, South Carolina, those places are really high, which is, you know, predominantly South. Louisiana, the numbers are crazy in New Orleans. Yeah. So we want to be able to do that. And then with Karin's assistance, I want to be able to also employ people like still not take them, but at least kind of borrow Anne-Marie and borrow Jamie through the conference because they were so well in reference to putting things together. So if we get the kind of money that I'm asking for, we'll be able to bring on other people. Now, Karin, we won't take them to every 10 cities, but no, at least a couple of them, at least a couple of cities, they can do all of that background work for us. So I'm really excited about the national kidney campaign.
You are great. You're going to have me speak and they do all the work and and you take the credit. That's great. Well, you know, this is wonderful. So Greg, any questions you want to ask now that you are with our winners again? Anything else that you want to have from them?
You know, I'd be curious, like, so you won the event, right? You got the check. It sounds like we had to get it on certain planes to get the checks home. But how did you share the news with your local teams or your community? And what do they want to see you do?
Isabel, you want to go first?
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Chet. Well, actually, this was quite revolutionary at home. We are launching a campaign in Spain with this good news. And we all hope that this money will give us more money, you know, from investors and so on in order to continue all our work and development. So this is something that will be launched in, I think that's 1 week, the maximum. They are now thinking, Reuters and some others thinking about the story because they found that the story is really interesting in order to explain specifically why in this area of medicine there is no precision medicine. Yeah. So surprising, and nobody knows it, that it's an interesting news to be spread through the world. So that's it in our case.
That's great.
And so what we did, Greg, first of all, you know, I'm over the top. We did a live broadcast in front of the on the Kidney Conversation stage. Close to 2,000 impressions on LinkedIn. We sent it to over 200,000 people on our email blast. We sent that out to them. We're raising money from that because we told them 15 wasn't enough to do what we needed to do. We did 5,000 alone just last weekend. I'll take that check everywhere with me. I took it to the radio station, took it to the TV station. I'm taking it everywhere. And it's downstairs in the studio now. So when we interview guests, behind us is the Lyfebulb check because I am so appreciative for that. So yes, we're taking it all the way to the end. We're going to take it to next year.
Nice.
That's great.
You deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of work going into this. And, one maybe final question to all three of you. And let's have someone else than Isabel start this time, maybe Greg. What's your advice to young people who are, in high school now and thinking about education or going into a startup, doing no education, no college education, to their parents, maybe disappointment or not? But what's your advice to a young Greg Lewis kind of guy?
That could take a long time, but I think listen, but yet state your opinion, have a point of view. I'm actually attending a conference right now, and it's all about equity and ensuring that equitable solutions are there for all. So I think unless your voice is heard, unless your position is shared, people don't know where you stand or what you're thinking. So I would say listen to understand the situation and then speak your point of view.
That's good. I would say patience is what I would say to the people, because most of the young folks now, it's a microwave syndrome. They want things done overnight. You have to have patience and endurance. It's been 30 years for me working, 30 years owning businesses, but it takes patience.
Yeah.
I would agree with Chet's comment, and I would add to be ambitious but humble, because I think it is important to learn for a young person not to, you may, at that age, you may think that you know everything of the world, but that is simply not true. So it's important to learn. It doesn't matter if you do it through college or other means, but you have to listen and learn.
Three wise people here really learned from your mistakes, I think, and also maybe from your wins, right? What has worked for you? I would think I agree with all three of you. I also want to add one more thing, maybe, is don't be afraid of risk, because you do have to take some risk out there. If you're just staying on the safe route, through life, you're going to end up being, maybe you're okay, but you never took that risk. You never tried. For me, I've always been happiest when I've tried something that may have been, not what I thought I could do, but what I thought I could do maybe in the future. Not what I can do, but what I could do, right? So I think being open to risk, and especially as a young person, because you have very little to responsibility, right? You may not have that mortgage, you don't have those children yet, and taking that risk is I think important. So thank you so much. I want to thank Veloxis Pharmaceuticals really for co-hosting this challenge with us. It was a fantastic experience working with that team, and I think we need more companies in the transplant space that take risk and go out in this environment, from every perspective, but especially in the transplant space where, regulatory endpoints are tough, clinical trial pathways are lengthy, and we need more companies and more financing in this space. But we also need, I think what was very clear from our learnings 2 weeks ago was that we need patient power. We need patients to come together, work together, and identify problems that we're facing on a daily basis, and then getting the best minds to solve those problems. We need to attract talent to the transplant space. Anyway, so thanks to all three of you, and we will see you soon again. And thanks to the audience. Bye-bye now.